Oh, weird little fossil. Thought it was a tooth at first, but that would have been nice if it was whole. I don't have any ammonia bottles right now. Broken, the perfect spot. Slightly broken. I'll probably put it in my collection anyway. Fine so far. Kind of hoping this one's Vaseline glass, hard to tell. This is a 7-Up. You can just barely see where the ACL had been. See the 7. I think I'm still gonna keep it though. A couple of little blank guys, and then whatever this was, a handle to something, I think. Got some frozen fresh juice. Oh look, he's holding some. There.
Wholesome.
Kind of a cool picture.
Mate, so would you like a spot of tea here?
My Christmas present came early. Clean it up very carefully, please. I want to see what it looks like. This would be our first whole teacup. We've had mugs, like coffee mugs, but no teacups.
Now I can go up on the terrace and have a spot of tea.
If there are any British people watching this, please don't be offended. He has a terrible British accent.
Hey. I will have you know, I think I have a very spot-on British accent.
Well, we'll see if anyone that's British comments about it. Did you hear that? That thing sounded like it was super close. I don't know if that's a bird or what, but I feel like I'm about to have like a raccoon come down on my head or something.
It's probably a predator.
Well, I'll just push you over and run, so.
No.
Does it have anything on the bottom?
Doesn't look like it.
Dang. It's very dainty. Don't do that. I would just clean it up at home, but be very careful. If you break that, I'll cry. We'll come back when it's ready to head out, but we got this nice Bare Aspirin little bottle too. Those are always nice. Hello, so we found so much at the last bottle dump that I split it into 2 different videos. So hopefully I split it correctly, but this is what's going to be in the first video. I've got about 2 pages worth of information that I've looked up on a couple of these items, and it just would have been too long of a video for my tablet to handle. Still don't have a laptop yet. Also, sorry, it's been a month since I've done this. It's been very hot and very rainy out this summer, and on top of that, I've had some health issues, so I just haven't been able to get out as much. I'm hoping to change that and start putting videos out a little bit more regularly, but it really might not start getting super regular until fall. So we've got a couple of bottles. I think this probably would have been like a perfume or cologne. It was very difficult to clean out. but no information on any brands. This would have been a 7-Up. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, you can kind of see where the ACL had been. And on the bottom, I think it might be 57 or something. It looks like right there after the 5, there was some sort of error where there's 2 different numbers. Hopefully that means it's worth millions, but I doubt it. But I think that this would be a 1957 7-Up bottle, which is pretty regular for this dump. I really like the green. This was a bit of a heartbreaker because I think when the lid came off, or when someone took the lid off at some point, it did this. This is how I found it. But I love Milk Glass. I believe that's Anchor Hawking made it. But it would have had like a cold cream or cosmetic, some sort in it. And speaking of cosmetics, got a little bit of information on Noxzema. I love finding these even though they're fairly common because of the pretty blue. Got a little piece of another one right here. Very pretty color. So I looked up a bit of information on Noxzema, and it was created by George A. Bunting in 1909 in Maryland. Maryland is very proud of this fact. They even have on their maryland.gov website some information about Noxzema. Originally it was called Dr. Bunting's Sunburn Cream. As you guessed it, it was used originally for sunburn. In 1916, Bunting expanded his operations. He bought a small manufacturing plant and renamed the cream Noxzema, meaning no eczema, as it was discovered to help treat eczema. By the 1940s, it was estimated to have been used by 4 million people. Bunting retired in 1948, but the company continued making Noxzema. Currently, its most recent purchasing was by Unilever in 2010, and this jar is likely from the 1950s. So, a little bit of information on Noxzema. My mother actually still uses Noxzema, I think. I remember her using it in the past anyway, but I think they come in plastic jars now. Got a couple little vials. This one has a W with a circle. I haven't looked that up yet. And then we've got another one here, a bigger one, just some numbers on there. 5 ounces of something. So. And then this one says Breck on the bottom. So I looked it up, and it was a shampoo. So I've got a little bit of information on Breck as well. In 1930, Dr. John H. Breck Sr. of Springfield, Massachusetts, founded Breck Shampoo. In 1963, Breck was sold to a chemical company called American Cyanamid in New Jersey. Then in 1990, Breck was sold to the Dial Corporation that makes the Dial soaps, I believe. In 2006, it was licensed to Dollar Tree to be sold. It's still sold there today. Breck is known for its Breck Girls ad campaign, where different women were featured in their ads in magazines such as Vogue and Glamour. In 1988, the brand changed the name to the Breck Women. Examples of famous Breck Girls / women that I knew anyway were in 1968 it was Sybil Shepherd, in 1974 it was Brooke Shields, and in 1975 it was Farrah Fawcett. So that was kind of interesting. Apparently shampoo used to come in glass. Haven't seen that in a while. I doubt that the Dollar Tree version comes in glass today. If anybody knows what this could be, please comment below, because we are not sure, but my husband's pretty sure he wants to make it into like a doorknob pull at some point, but we have no idea. So yeah, if you know, comment below. Got just a pretty piece of pottery here. I always like to pick up the ones that have designs on them. Looks like some roses. Part of possibly a glass ashtray or something. It had a bit of a tint to it, so I thought maybe it would glow like uranium glass, but it didn't. So I think honestly the tint could just be from it being in the water so long too. Because the dump that we go to is over right next to like a creek that runs into a river, so. Got some slag glass. My husband likes to collect these for landscaping our yard. And another little piece here. A couple of pieces of, goodness, a couple of pieces of ironstone. Another one. Piece of glass I picked up because I thought maybe it would glow, but it doesn't. But it'll be good for a couple projects I'm gonna be working on. My husband picked up this piece of flint. We've got a tire, probably from like a kid's tractor or kid's truck or something. It looked bigger in the video itself. I'm not sure why, but it's smaller. So got a strange plastic piece. I thought it was metal when I got it, but when we cleaned it up, it was some sort of like celluloid type plastic or something. I don't know what it would have been used for. If you know, comment below. Got a strange shaped bottle. Kind of reminds me of something that maybe like a spice or like a seasoning blend or something would have been in. Got this. I'm not sure if it was part of a figurine. Kind of gives that feel, or if it would have been like a very dainty teacup with a handle. Almost looks like an arm to me, but I don't think we'll ever fully know. One of my absolute favorite finds, this teacup. We're gonna work harder on getting some of this rust off. I bought something for it that I'm gonna show in a different video. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a marking on it, but other than one little chip, it's intact. This is our first intact teacup. It's very dainty. So, got a small fossil of some sort. I really need to research my fossils. I don't know as much about those as some of the other stuff that I find. Piece of a plate with some scalloping on the edges. This broke in the perfect spot because it still completely says ammonia. Unfortunately, I can't tell what brand it would have been, but that would have been a nice hole. We don't have any whole ammonia bottles currently. Got this here. Looks like it says R-E-G, like registered maybe. And then R-E and W-I-T-H, something and with, I think. Probably like an old beer or something. But I always take things that have writing. Part of an old, I was thinking maybe soap dish or something. It looks like it had some sort of numbers on it at some point. 250. Looks like it was ironstone. And then kind of a sad story on these. I looked up a lot more than I actually probably should have on these. But these are Bayer aspirin. This is the first time we found them with the caps. They're pink and they say keep out of children's reach. So I did some research, and I think after researching Bayer aspirin, I might try to not buy Bayer aspirin or Bayer products anymore. But here goes. And I don't know if I'm going to say some of these German words right, but Friedrich Bayer and Johann Friedrich Westcott founded Bayer in 1863. The company developed aspirin in 1899. Bayer trademarked the term aspirin, which is acetylsalicylic acid. The trademark has since been lost, possibly in 1917. So many companies can make generic aspirin and call it aspirin. Bayer commercialized heroin as a child's cough medicine until 1912. They had their assets seized after World War II due to their role in the Nazi war effort. They were involved in using concentration camp slave labor and tested new medicines on the slaves. Now, I don't say this lightly. I looked this up, and there are actual books with correspondence between Bayer and Nazi commanders, soldiers, whatever you would call them. So this, as far as I can tell, is true. They also produced a chemical used in gas chambers called Zyklon B. Bayer's headquarters are in Germany. Acetylsalicylic acid is a modification of salicylic acid, which is found in the bark of a willow plant. I think it's used in quite a few like acne medications. The pink keep out of children's reach cap also has a bit of an ominous past. By the 1950s, low-dose flavored aspirin, as these bottles likely contained, was the #1 drug ingested by children. It was nicknamed candy aspirin, and children loved the flavor. In 1965, the National Clearinghouse for Poison Control Centers received 34,483 accidental drug ingestion reports by children under 5, 47% of which involved aspirin. In 1966, Poison Control Centers documented that 88% of nearly 11,000 children under age 5 treated in an emergency room for aspirin ingestion had overdosed on a flavored formulation. This cap was probably an early safety cap and warned parents to keep the contents away from children. So, I was fairly surprised researching this. I didn't know anything about Bayer before that. Kind of wish I didn't still, but so yeah, there's those. And then last but not least, we have 2, I think, lipstick tubes maybe. This one is pretty far gone. I took it home thinking maybe we could clean it up, but it's plastic and it's just eroding away. It was covered in some sort of rust layer, but this one's in a bit better condition. It still has, it had more of it before we cleaned it, but it still has some of the pink in it. So I think it was like a bright pink color. The part that would have had the brand name would have been on the bottom usually, so I don't know what brand it was, but I might be able to look it up based on the patterning. I just haven't had a chance to yet. So quite a few finds this time around. This is only half of them. Next weekend, I'm hoping to do another video with the other half and do some more research on some of those items. So if you liked the video, then please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Thank you. Bye.